This is a great time, actually, to pivot into another world quest. This has a little bit of lore reading. I believe I'm going to get a book from this quest. But for those of you who don't know, apparently this structure, this location houses a structure of some sort that crash landed in this area. I don't know exactly what this is implying. It seems like this could be a piece of the fractured moon from beyond the firmament of the false sky that crash landed on this planet before it was sealed up. Allegedly. I don't know. That's my headcanon. That's the logic I'm going into with this, because I don't really know how else to explain this. It literally looks like a piece of like a silver moon structure of some sort, and it's been here since 5.0. It does tie into the NPC above, so we are going to talk to the NPC. I think we get a book from him, but I also think you can destroy this fragment. I don't know if I want to. I might have to trigger the quest realistically, or to do whatever I need to do here, but I'm definitely going to take some pictures and preserve it however I can. But let's see. Oh, hello. Hey, what are you doing there? Who is this? Whoa, you scared me half to death. What if I fell? How could you pay me back? My hidden power hasn't been awakened yet. You know, I'm just a helpless little kid. Oh my God. Sorry, Paimon didn't mean to give you a fright, but hidden powers? Would you develop some super duper ultimate technique or something? Look, it's called a hidden power for a reason. If it's hidden, how the heck would I know what it is? He's got a point, Paimon. Look, let's put that to the side for now. Can you help me find the star shards? Oh my God. I've saved up quite a bit of pocket money from helping out Mama Coco, and you can have my last Mora. Well, since you're asking us for help, could you at least tell us your name? By the way, Paimon's Paimon, and this is Murder of Birds. The name I use now is nothing but a code name, that's all. But everyone calls me Orqo, so you might as well too. Now, about the star shards, will you help me? Just what is a star shard? Doesn't sound like something you can come by too easily. They're shards split up from stars that fell from the sky. The false sky, by the way. As long as you find them and return them to their original spot, you can regain the power that was lost. Oh my God, this is wild. So this is confirmed a falling star. Look, a fallen star is just down below. This must have been crazy for people in hindsight who did this quest first, and then the Act 4 false sky, and then they probably contextualized it, but because I waited, this is huge. Also, the gift that keeps on giving, Simulanka. We had to go around and collect all the star fragments that fell from the sky because of Durin, and then we had to put them back up into the sky with like the Astral Express. I love Simulanka so much. It's literally the best summer event. It's so goated. Look, a fallen star is just down below. There's got to be some leads to find star shards down there. Come on, please give me a hand. Okay, we'll help you this time. Still though, star shards and lost powers and whatnot, this feels like something out of a novel. You don't know the half of it, Paimon. You've never even heard the story of Qoyllor and Ukuku. My dad's told me it a million times. I've got it completely memorized. I'd be happy to share it with you, but let's go down and take a look first. Okay. So is this the fallen star? If you look at it up close, a mysterious power is surging through my body. Eh? Really? Hey, wait a sec. We haven't even found the shattered fragments yet. Speaking of the fragments, are there really clues to them around here? Paimon doesn't see anything. So what's next? We'd have to rely on our raw strength. Hit it with all of your might of the Tapetlosaur, and maybe we'll find out what the missing fragments are. Brute force can solve most problems. That's what my dad says. But I still haven't awoken my strength, and I don't have my own Saurian either. So you're all I've got. Collect the shattered star shards. We also did get the book. Let me see what that's all about. In before, this is just an allegory. This is definitely an allegory of like the events that led this star to, oh my God, this is crazy. Qoyllor and Ukuku. All right, we're gonna read this after I finish this quest, by the way. All right, so there's a Tapetlosaur right here. So we're gonna grab this. I'm really sad about this, but like, I would have preferred not to do that if I could have helped it. Oh, wait, a piece of it still. Oh, it's still here then. Okay, I thought I was like destroying it like permanently. All right, that's not too bad then. Thank God. I was like, no, I don't want to do this. Oh, these are star shards. Wait a minute. Star shard, a strange fragment that Orqo termed a star shard. That should be all right. This commission was way easier than Paimon thought it'd be. Still, do miraculous powers like this exist? Paimon was pretty skeptical before. Want to awaken some hidden powers too, do you? Hoyoverse, you need to stop doing this with Paimon. We already know she's gonna get some super crazy late game, like crazy celestial power awakening reveal, but they keep doing this to us, and I'm gonna shake them. We need to get a Paimon reveal of some sort by the end of Natlin at this point. Like, they're constantly doing this. Of course, wouldn't it make things really easy if you had, say, a super treasure-seeking ability or the power to just destroy any monster with one punch? Come on, Murder-of-Birds, wouldn't you want that? I want more power. Oh God, Paimon's gonna be busted by endgame, and that's all that tells me. Hurry up and put the fragments back on the star. Wow, I wonder what powers will awaken. Maybe I'll even ascend to the skies of Celestia. Good Lord. Get me out of here. This is way too dank, chat. I'm sorry. 3 star shards. Here you go. Wait for the hidden power to awaken. Awaken Nighthead. What the hell? Murder-of-Birds, do you feel any unbelievable power? No. The big rock hasn't changed a bit. No mysterious glow, not even sudden shaking or just cracking it open. Did we use the wrong incantation? It sounded right to Paimon though. Still, we occasionally run into situations like this where we're exploring ruins. If you misremember the password or signal, the mechanism just won't work. Weird. I was told saying that stuff would liberate the hidden power, and the person who told me closed their eyes and started moaning in pain as soon as they recited it. So why would you do that? Not only that, but afterwards he gained a magic eye that could tell the value of gems. Excuse me? Those symptoms sound familiar. Oh shit, what the hell? Who is this? Oh my, I finally found you, you silly little goose. How'd you end up out here? Your father's been worried sick about you. Hello? I told you I'd be back when it's time to eat. Still talking back. You two kids down there, don't go tarry either. Who knows what kind of danger might show up if you dally there. All right, we got to get out of here and explain ourselves. Those are just childish fantasies he was talking about. Sorry you had to get involved in his mischief. He's gotten quite naughty as nobody really disciplines him. After all, his mother isn't around and his father's eyesight is poor. I try to help out as a neighbor, but I haven't got unlimited energy either. Oh, so that's it. Paimon knew it. There's no way something like that could be true. Imagine just collecting a few stone fragments and getting mysterious powers. Okay, Paimon, we've seen crazier things. I'm not being naughty, it's for dad. Don't be so bird-brained. It's all because you won't listen to those older and wiser. At least you're safe and sound this time. But did you ever stop and think about what would happen if you got into some real trouble someday? Enough. You just behave yourself and come back with me. Fine. But first, here you go, you two. We did agree. Here's the Mora I promised. Do take it. We wouldn't want him to be someone who isn't true to his word. Well, since you put it that way, we won't say no. Yeah, and maybe I'll need your help in the future. We failed this time, but that doesn't mean we won't succeed next time, right? You little munchkin. Come on, Mama Coco, let's go. My dad's waiting. Thank you both. See you next time. Next time? There's gonna be a next time? Anyways, at least the evil machine... Okay, that's the other achievement. Okay. Awaken Nighthead, but nothing happened. Interesting. Okay, so I'm really glad that the stone itself doesn't get, like, permanently destroyed. It was just, like, the fragments for the quest, because I think this is a really cool landmark monument that we can come back to and reference to for any specific reason. I think this is like so freaking cool. Okay, we're gonna read this book now. I'm assuming this book's gonna have a lot of allegorical references and connections to, you know, other things that I'm expecting we're gonna get into with, like, whatever this moon fragment is and how that moon fragment plays a role in, because technically this is a foreign object of the world, and when you look at it with elemental sight, it kind of gives off this kind of reaction. Maybe it's because it was initially a destructible structure, like a destructible object. All right, gamers, cozy up because we got some lore to read. We're going to be reading the tale of Qoyllor and Ukuku, a long-standing Natlan folktale that was originally told orally. As such, there is now no way of knowing who the original author was. Yeah, just ask the primordial one. All right, I'm sure he knows a thing or two about how this got here, potentially, maybe, kind of, sort of. Also, the pattern of that scroll looks crazy cool. It's like the star with the streaks and whatnot, some crazy stuff in the background that looks super cool. All right, gamers, and it's volume 1, so I don't know if there's others, but let's see. Long ago, that dim star was as bright as all the other stars you see now, yet the lives of tribespeople were much the same as they were in the present. To you, this way of life may seem overly familiar, perhaps nothing special, even lacking in excitement. But for Qoyllor, who lived on that star, it was anything but ordinary. Though the star that Qoyllor lived on was the one that was the closest to the tribes, yet still she was inestimably far away from her brothers and sisters. Like you, she was always full of curiosity for things she didn't understand, just as we who live on the ground gaze up on the awe of the starry sky. She too would often look down with great interest upon the tribes on the ground. But one day, Qoyllor leaned too far forward and accidentally fell from the sky. Falling to the ground, the star lost its former brilliance, and her power shattered into fragments that were scattered across the land. Her father, the sun, had entrusted her with this power. Oh my god, what the before sun and moon? Her father, the sun, had entrusted her with this power, exhorting her to guard it carefully. But now, without its power, she could never again return to the sky. Qoyllor reflected how, when she was simply observing it from the star, life on the ground seemed so fascinating to her. Yet now that she had to give up her original life and become part of it, it all seemed far less satisfying. You know what this reminds me of, chat? This kinda is giving Aether and Lumine. Aether and Lumine flew here as stars, and then they got stopped by the sustainer of heavenly principles, and they're stuck here now. They can't leave. They can't go back to where they came from. That's kind of crazy. Hold on. I wonder if this is somehow like a reference to Descenders. Maybe this is like a Descender story. For a long time, Qoyllor wandered alone, facing many dangers, for the wilderness back then was far more perilous than it is now. Yet despite her tribulations, she found nothing. Later, by utter chance, she met Ukuku, a hunter from the tribe, and things began to change. Ukuku was a fierce warrior, as strong and silent as a bear. Upon learning of Qoyllor's plight, he agreed to help her search for the fragmented shards of her star, then send her back home. He prided himself on his skills as a hunter, both his prowess in the chase and of course his mastery of the art of tracking too. So side by side, they set off on their roaming. They climbed high mountains and scaled great peaks, ventured into deep ravines and gloomy caverns, and in the process defeated hordes of enemies and made scores of friends. Under Ukuku's watchful guidance, Qoyllor grew accustomed to life on the ground. This is giving Aether and Paimon energy now. Like the traveler is stuck. They don't know what to do. They need help. And then here comes a companion. Here comes a guide, a watchful guide that's aiding them in their search and their journey. Yeah, I mean, Lumine and Dane, Aether and Paimon, they're kind of two sides of the same coin. They both have paralleled experiences, so I associate it more with my experience versus Dainsleif and Lumine, but it can apply to them as well. Under Ukuku's watchful guidance, Qoyllor grew accustomed to life on the ground. Just like you and me, perhaps even better than some of us, she hunted, fought, and rested with Saurians, recounting the incredible stories she had heard from the mouth of the storytellers of the children of the tribes, ate tacos, and chased after the Monitous. I love those things too. Yet occasionally, on those nights back then, unlit by glowing graffiti, the stars in the night sky would suddenly remind her of her distant home. Now, she was even further from her brothers and sisters. Did they miss her too? So she also had family beyond the world that she was on. Kind of reminded me as well of like Descenders coming here from outside, from beyond the firmament, stuff like that. I don't know how deeply I need to read into this or how I should look into this, but I feel like every book to this degree in Genshin is like an allegory or some type of parallel of like the ancient past that is relevant to everything, to the lore of Teyvat. After years of fruitless searching, Qoyllor began to wonder, perhaps in the same way that she had become a part of the tribe, her lost power had long since been found. Perhaps the birds, beasts, insects, and snakes had claimed it for their own. When she asked Ukuku if he had grown tired of chasing after an elusive goal, the only answer he gave was a short, "Sorry, what a tongue-tied hunter," she thought to herself. Yet, his heart is kind. Perhaps they had been searching blindly from the very start, and it was, by any reckoning, a difficult task. And besides, it really had nothing to do with Ukuku from the start, so his apology was utterly misplaced. Thinking back on how that quiet hunter had taken such good care of her, Qoyllor could only marvel at his kindness. Later on, Qoyllor and Ukuku were to form a family together. Oh my god, this is crazy. Settling down in the corner of the tribe. And to think, the young children of the tribe had not the slightest inkling that one of their neighbors had fallen from the stars. Qoyllor had always been of a cheerful disposition, and when things happened that could not be helped, she simply let them be. Though her homeland was far out of reach, the twinkling stars seemed to greet her as if they were her brothers and sisters themselves, and so she was content. But Ukuku, whose wish had seemingly come true, became even more silent and gloomy than before. Some said that it was just his nature, while others speculated that he had been haunted by the guilt as a result of having failed to fulfill his promise to Qoyllor. Such theories seem to have their merits, but as you know, when someone harbors an unspeakable secret, they tend to appear melancholy, and this was certainly the case for Ukuku. But what exactly was this secret that Ukuku was hiding? Forgive me, I must keep you in suspense for now, and instead return to the matter of neighbors. Interesting. What if he like found the shards and then just didn't tell her because he liked her company so much, you know? And he knew that if he did it, she would leave. Maybe that's what happened? It is said that a relative far off is less helpful than a neighbor nearby. That seems kind of valid. And in the tribe, we always rely on the support of our neighbors and friends. As bad luck would have it, their neighbor, Pochika, was a troublemaker who had never gotten along with Ukuku. He had always tried to make things difficult for Ukuku, but as long as Ukuku ignored him, things never escalated. So before Qoyllor's arrival, they managed to coexist. But Qoyllor's presence ignited a spark of jealousy in Pochika, and once that spark was lit, it cannot be so easily extinguished. Ukuku is a kind person, and kind people always put the needs of others above themselves. Of course, Pochika was well aware of what the other tribespeople thought of Ukuku, so he clearly saw things differently. What a bore he is, a complete and utter bore, and I can use his kindness against him, and in the end, it will save me much trouble. Pochika's plan was a simple one. He would, from time to time, speak badly of Ukuku in front of Qoyllor, adding a bit of color here and there, embellishing his stories with malicious barbs. He might wonder how such a clumsy trick could work, but do not forget, the extreme reticence, even gloominess, that Ukuku had shown of late could be hard to bear for someone whose origins were as special as Qoyllor's. Ah, look at you, like a bird that has had its wings clipped. When he was talking to Qoyllor, Pochika always took to the air of intimacy. He's always been like this. Whenever he found a bird he liked, he'd clip its wings and stop it from flying. Then lock it in a cage. Wow. Then lock it in a cage. Pitiable. Truly pitiable. All right, this guy's just like big mad, big jealous, and he's like, I'm gonna make her think that this guy is the reason why she can't go home. And the other guy's too good for his own good. He's too nice for his own good. At first, Qoyllor paid no attention to her vindictive neighbor's gossip, but after years of hearing it time after time, she could not help but begin to have doubts. She longed to know what it was in Ukuku's heart, but neither did she want to make a big deal out of nothing, so she tried probing with a few comments disguised as playful remarks. Yet always, Ukuku seemed unwilling to engage, either dodging her questions or simply adopting his usual gloomy demeanor and answering only with heavy silence. Now, let us return to the secret that Ukuku had been keeping hidden within his heart. Everything he did only served to deepen Qoyllor's suspicions, and she was the type that liked to get to the bottom of things. After all, if it wasn't for that, she would have never fallen from the star. She would have never fallen from her star in the first place. Under pressure of her questioning, Ukuku soon confessed his secret. It turns out that in the course of their past travels together, he had indeed found some star shards. In other words, the goal that had always been so elusive to Qoyllor was not entirely without its clues. But by that time, Ukuku had already developed feelings for— I had a feeling that was the case. And he knew that when the day came when all the shards had been found, Qoyllor would return to the stars, and they would never see one another again. Yeah, I figured. That is really unfortunate. As I see it, it is hard for anyone to persist in something that goes against their nature for long, and Ukuku was no exception to this rule. When he finally unveiled his innermost secret, it was as if a heavy weight had been lifted from his shoulders, and even the gloom on his face seemed to lessen. Yet having heard the confession, Qoyllor felt only sadness and anger. Deceit and betrayal were things she had never been before, but now she understood their bitter pang. She really was a bird whose wings had been clipped. Thinking such a thought only served to convince Qoyllor that Ukuku's actions could not be forgiven. And as we all know, though it takes great time to build, deep trust can be destroyed in an instant. Qoyllor demanded that Ukuku hand over the star shards he had hidden, but Ukuku refused. He could not bear the thought of parting with her, still believing that as long as he kept her close, there would always be a chance that he might turn things around. But this was in vain, for as we all have our limits when it comes to forgiveness, as these vary from person to person, so for Qoyllor did the buck stop at deceit and betrayal. Ignoring his pleas, Qoyllor left the tribe she had once considered home, returning to the same wilderness she had wandered when she first fell down to the ground. But this time it was different. She knew what she had to do. Like a true person of Natlan, she put a huge work of graffiti on the vast expanse of land. How big was it? Though it could now be seen as longer, it is said that those who witnessed it at the time remarked that it might well be bigger than a volcano. You could not have missed such a gigantic piece of graffiti, even if you were gazing from the sun itself. And indeed, that was her intent. Let her lost power be, she thought to herself. Whether hidden by Ukuku or claimed by the birds, beasts, insects, and snakes, it mattered not. For she could always turn to her father, the one who had bestowed her the power upon her in the first place, and was willing to accept any punishment that might come her way. And lo, Qoyllor's son-father saw her plea, quickly bringing her back to the sky. That star that had lost its power became dim, and that's the star, and was now almost invisible unless you looked very closely. Would Qoyllor still look down at the land, observing the lives of the people below as she once did? I did not know the answer to that, but what is certain is that she was reunited with her many brothers and sisters, returned to the place that even the mightiest Iktomisaurs could not reach. As for Ukuku, who had been left behind, his deceit and betrayal angered the sun. As punish— Oh my god, chat. Holy fuck. This is the story of Kuntur, unloved by the sun. This was the lore that Rajit told us in the Saurian event. Back in, what was it, 4.7, 4.8? They said that he angered the sun. And I was like, what the fuck could you have done? Wow. And they said that he redeemed himself. He became companions with an Iktomisaur. Holy moly. As for Ukuku, who had been left behind, his deceit and betrayal angered the sun. As punishment, he was blinded by the sun's golden arrows. From then on, wherever he went, the sun would retreat behind the clouds, leaving him without a trace of sunlight. Oh, this is— okay, this is the father of Kuntur. Okay, I see now. I thought this was actually Kuntur, but it's the lore of him. Even their child Kuntur, who was still very young at the time, was affected by this. Wow, chat. This is the lore of the dad. As a result, he was unable to form a single friendship with any Saurian until he had grown up to be a young man. But as for Kuntur's adventures thereafter, well, that's another story entirely. Hoyoverse, absolute cinema. God damn. I need a story of Kuntur now, and we better get that next patch. Wow, this was so cool. I really hope we learn more about Kuntur. I feel like there was some allegorical parallels there between Aether and the Traveler, or like Descenders in general being stuck on Teyvat. The idea of beings that live beyond the stars, that live out in basically outer space. A sun god and brothers and sisters, so other outlanders, essentially. I don't know if they live among the stars, they live on stars, which is kind of crazy to think about. That book was essentially a prequel to the story of Kuntur. Ranjit did mention that Kuntur went on to redeem himself, or to be redeemed, when he befriended an Iktomisaur. He formed a companionship with an Iktomisaur in the past. I really hope we get another story or a continuation story of Kuntur's journey in the world of Teyvat, and like how his involvement and everything was shaped, because that is such a cool story. I really enjoyed that. So where apparently I can find the dad of this boy. I probably already came across him, but I don't remember. Okay, so I do know where the father and son is located, actually right here. What's crazy, chat, is the father is blind, just like Kuntur's father. And so if this is an allegory, Lil Bro is actually Kuntur in the story. If not actually him. He did say the name I'm going by now is Orqo. So I don't know what his actual name is. All right, let's see. Strange footfalls. Are you a guest from afar? About Orqo. So you know the kid. Are you the travelers from abroad he mentioned? I hope he didn't cause you too much trouble and that you won't hold it against him. Without his mother around to keep him in check, he's quite a bit more mischievous than most kids. As for me, I have my difficulties, which limit what I can do for him. Oh, you know what? This would mean that this is Ukuku then. Like, he's the Ukuku. Oh my fucking god. The mother's gone because that's Qoyllor? Wait! Oh my god! Wait, is this actually them? That's crazy. What if this is actually him? I am actually baffled right now. Without his wait, so that means they had a kid together. I mean, they did say they settled down. Without his mother around to keep him in check, he's quite a bit more mischievous than most kids. As for me, I have my difficulties, which limits what I can do for him. He seems to really want to help you. Kuntur. Oh my god. Yes, I've heard. Perhaps I'm the one in the wrong. When I think about how his mother is gone, I tell him stories that to drive away his loneliness, but I never expected him to believe them and try to use magic to bring his mother back. Should I wake him up from his fantasies? I just don't know what to do. If I didn't know any better, I'd say, no wonder he believes this story. It's literally drawn from his life experience. He's like, my dad's blind. My mom ran out on me. That's crazy. That's crazy how paralleled the story is to this kid's life. It's almost like history is repeating itself, chat. And he said he doesn't have a Saurian companion yet, just like Kuntur didn't have a... Bro, what visionary wrote that story? Someone was prophesizing this kid's destiny with that story. God damn. You've got good hearing. Thanks for the compliment, but it's a skill I've honed due to my other deficiencies. Maybe it would be better if I hadn't. If you're an adventurer, be careful of the gem collector, lest you end up like me. They did say, what did he say? He said, oh, he saw some, like in the story, he was like, oh, someone else did that incantation and they lost their eyes, but then they were able to see the value of gems or something. About the gem collector, he's a fiendish, vicious villain. The gems he loves are not those beloved of the children of Echo's artisans. Anyways, keep your guard up around him. A gem collector? Bro, who's the gem collector? Eyes? Is there a devourer of eyeballs? So, what's your hidden power? How's your hidden power? It's still hidden. Next time I'll explain things to my dad before I leave. Take this. I've heard that it'll bring good luck on your next trip. About the story. Oh my god. Well, I now know that it's a story passed down by the masters of the Nightwind. Yep. Iktomisaur references, so that makes sense. Oh my god. Dude. That means we could potentially learn more about this story when that tribe comes out, actually. Holy shit. Let's fucking go. 5.2, where you at? And it wasn't because he was punished by the sun that dad couldn't see. Though, If mom didn't go back to the stars, where did she go? Okay, I think the gem collector may have stolen this guy's eyes, similar to how the sun god blinded Kuntur from the story. So I think the gem collector, I don't know who that is or what that's a reference to in like present. Whoever this gem collector is a reflection of the sun god who blinded Kuntur's father, and thus that person in present took this guy's eyesight. I don't know what a gem collector is. I know the story also originated in the Masters of the Nightwind, so we might not know until we get a little bit further into 5.2 when that comes out. But god damn. But they did say that it's not a gem collector that is associated with like the gems of the Children of Echoes. So maybe it's a creature that values eyeballs kind of like gems, like stones or whatever. You know what I mean? Which is kind of terrifying. That sounds very eldritch horror. That's kind of giving Bloodborne energy a little bit. You know what I mean? I hope we get to see something like that, or like we get more information on who or what this gem collector is. Maybe it's another local legend. Maybe it's an abyssal creature. That'd be kind of cool. I'm gonna keep my eyes peeled. We might learn more information when we get to the Masters of the Nightwind. So we do know that the story of Kuntur is a Masters of the Nightwind original, and I'm really eager and hopeful. I did not think we would get that information from that story. That was so freaking cool. I cannot wait. Yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. All right, guys, Future Arnold here. I know I'm at the very, very tail end of the video, but I wanted to give this context because this is not something that will be followed up in the playthrough series in future patches, because this development of the gem collector plotline was actually discovered off stream during my exploration. It was not tied to a quest, but a random encounter that you guys are seeing on the map. It's actually marked in red. That location, you'll find an NPC, you'll find a mini boss, and you'll find 2 additional notes that will give the full context of this gem collector identity, which, you know, at the time that we recorded it, I thought it had something to do with the abyss or a creature or a person or something. In fact, it was a little bit of each. And at the time of this recording, at the end of the video here, it is version 5.5 where we got this information. So the individual is actually an NPC by the name of Ishtalo, who was an associate of an infamous trafficker within Natlan, who at one point ventured to the great volcano of Tallinn, where they had become influenced or corrupted by the abyss. And this eventually led them to start going crazy and insane and inevitably developing an obsession with quote-unquote gems, one of them in which he called sulfurite. For some strange reason, throughout his corruptive mind state, he ended up taking these gems and embedding them into his own eyes, believing that they would help him get rid of the fear that he had over the abyss. But this in fact only exacerbated and made the situation worse, because at this point he would start gouging the eyes out of strangers, adventurers, and travelers that he would come across on his journey and replacing them with gems. So he would gouge out their eyeballs and he would replace them with sulfurite. And that is basically the correlation and the connection between Orqo's father and Kuntur's father in the story, who was unloved by the sun and was blinded by the sun god. So I think the parallel is really interesting here, and there was also some in-game, in-universe connection to an actual gem collector that you could eventually encounter. Now, there is no connection to it from the story perspective, and when you defeat them, you just get a chest, so like no achievement or anything like that. But I did want to follow up to let you guys know that I did know about this, in case some of you guys thought I may have forgotten it, or because it's not going to be mentioned or brought up in the playthrough series. So yeah, if you guys don't know about it, check out this location on the map, get yourself a chest, and you can read the extra bits of notes to give you more context. And yeah, this was a great storyline. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Take care.